You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at PACERadio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
And here we are. Good morning, fellow Fibro fighters and warriors. I'm Green Irene, and we're live on the Pace Radio Network today, or Pace Radio Station, Pace Radio Network. Here we are, and we're fighting Fibro. Now, today I don't have a lot of, I was putting together a slideshow to explain some of the things that I wanted to share with you today, but a couple of things have come up this week. That kind of frightened me a little bit. 3 people that I know of that fight fibro have been to their doctors recently, and all of the doctors are prescribing pharmaceuticals instead of proposing dietary or lifestyle changes as a first option or the first line of defense. So, that being said, I thought it was really important that we maybe address fighting fibromyalgia pharmaceutical free. Now, as you all know, I'm a firm believer that education is empowerment. Sharing learned and researched information via YouTube videos and various publications has been something that I've been doing for 10 plus years now. Today, I'm going to show you a video that I created approximately 10 years ago, thereabouts 7 to 10 years ago, sharing my story. It's a very short video. I'm going to share that today. It's a little bit outdated in that it's my first publication platform and stuff like that, but no worries. The thing is at my point in time, with when I was fighting fibromyalgia before I became pharmaceutical free, I was ingesting a total of 93 pills a day. Now, that's not 93 for prescriptions. That's just 93 tablets. I mean, there was 6 Senecot every 2 or 3 times a day. My bowels didn't function. My bladder didn't function. I did not function. I was nothing short of being a husk of a human being. And it is dreadfully depressing for me to realize that what happened to me can happen to you or someone else that has just recently been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Now, of course, if you're recently diagnosed with fibromyalgia, you have been fighting it for some time, probably 3 to 5 years before you actually got the full diagnosis of fibromyalgia, even if it was suspected. You would have been through a whole host of other testing to see if it's to rule out a bunch of other neurological and physiological conditions and diseases like ALS, like Lou Gehrig's, like multiple sclerosis, like. So there's a lot of similar conditions to fibromyalgia. Now, here's the big challenge that I have with fibromyalgia. I feel that I give you guys a lot of information to help you, because that's what it comes down to. You really, as a fibro fighter, need to be the first line of defense in your battle strategy. Today, we're going to talk a little bit after the break about different tools that'll help get you started so that you too can fight pharma free. Now, when I say pharmaceutical free, I do need to point out that There is a time and place for pharmaceuticals, absolutely. And I am not objected to those who take them because they absolutely have to. There is, thank God for the, or thank the universe and the wisdoms of people and brain power, right? To have created from nature so many great tools that really do help us, because quite frankly, I get hit by a car. I don't want somebody showing up with a joint saying, here you go, this will help you out, because let's face it, that's not what I need in the moment. But to have to live your life in a pharmaceutical haze is not much of a life. To have to live with the symptoms of fibromyalgia and not have tools to battle against them is also not much of a life. So I am a fibro fighter who believes in the quality of life and learning to live a life that you actually love living. You know, every day has its own unique challenges, because that's part of being human and a part of being the race. But to be able to get through each day with less and less fibro symptoms affecting or holding your health and happiness hostage is what my education programs are all about. I use three primary tools: hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, and of course, cannabis. Now, what I'd like to do is say I'm going to share how I use these tools after we get through the first part. I really do want to share my story with you. So I have a bunch of different monitors going that I just set up. So I'm just getting used to where each and everything is. So we are broadcasting live. I myself have, drained my energy with a lot of activities and events going on in the last little while, in the last 3 to 4 weeks, which means I myself am currently, yes, right now, fighting a fibro flare. But what I've done is I've taken 15 minutes this morning to do a nice healing meditation, and we'll talk about that again in a little while. I've also done a self-hypnosis when I woke up this morning before opening my eyes, and I've talked about that with several of you. So in doing that, I am able to function properly today at my level and speed. So, which means I can still do my commitments like this show for you. So let me first share with you. Now, again, please remember that this video is a little outdated in that I prepared it a number of years ago when I first got out of the wheelchair, when I first started walking, when I first realized that the knowledge that I had gathered, the research and the studies were not that information was not being accessed by other fibro fighters. I decided it was time that I helped get that information out there. And so I started with this video. Now you can still find some of my old websites like the Gypsy Winch Production section or the Cannabis Corner Cafe. This, I believe, came out of Speaking Wind Woman. Speaking Wind Woman is my native spiritual name that was gifted to me from a medicine man, an elder who was working with me when I was at some of my lowest spots in my health. I was connected to a multitude of machines that were making my bowels work for me, helping my empty my bladder for me, and helping keep fluids and such in me. So at that time, I was gifted my name, Speaking Wind Woman, and I used it when I first stepped out into public as a reborn fibro fighter instead of a fibro sufferer. Okay, on that note, I went from victim to victor, and you can too. From surviving to thriving, right? Here we go. Here's my story. Let me just share. Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Speaking Wind Woman. Combining traditional philosophies and modern technology, I host and produce these YouTube videos that promote health and wellness strategies that have worked for me, and the research that I've done to understand why. Subscribe today and receive regular updates on the Fibro Fight series. And while you're at it, consider checking out my other videos and publications, the resourceful links on a variety of subjects that have been offered. This series introduces strategic suggestions based on current research and focuses on the 5 key factors affecting the success in fighting fibro. diet, exercise, natural pain and symptom relief, techniques for quality sleep, rest, and most essential, adopting and maintaining a more positive attitude. Fibromyalgia is a chronic disorder that is characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain, fatigue, and tenderness in localized areas. Rheumatologists have two criteria for diagnosing fibromyalgia. The first is a history of widespread pain that has lasted over 3 months, and the presence of tender points in 18 sections of the body. At least 11 of these points must be tender for a clinical diagnosis to be complete. I personally was diagnosed in or around 99-2000, and I went straight into denial psychologically. However, despite mind over matter, my butt still landed and stayed in a hospital bed or an electric wheelchair for extended periods of time, lasting days, weeks, or even months. I fought battles in vain, and winning some, losing most, against a make-believe internal enemy for 5 years before I conceded the war. Influenced by well-meaning professionals in the medical field, friends and family, of course, as well as an insane amount of advertising everywhere, I caved and loaded up on the pharmaceuticals, and they worked until they didn't. So I got more and more, and then I got some to fix the side effects of those. And so on, until finally my ability to live was solely dependent on pharmaceutical chemical drugs, and they didn't work. I existed in a delusional drugged fog, filling with toxins, wondering when I'd finally die. But then, weighing little more than 75 pounds and without an appetite, I was very physically and mentally stressed. My bladder emptied into an attached catheter, and I was only eliminating my bowel every 28 to 32 days on average. By 2011, I was taking 8 to 14 pills every 4 to 6 hours for a total of 96 pills a day, plus a fentanyl patch and Demerol or morphine as required. That's when I had a stroke. I was in the hospital for nearly a month, during which time something happened. A part of my subconscious was woken up, and though I couldn't explain what was different, something certainly was. I moved away from family, friends, and caregivers for a little while. I secluded myself from as much external influence as possible. There was no television, no internet, and little to no radio. The communication with the outside world was limited only to caregivers and rare moments with limited friends and family. I spent my time reading a great deal, mostly about Ojibwe history, culture, lore, traditions, the healing and philosophy of the Anishinaabe. I learned a lot about my roots, and I came to understand the teachings of my elders with a much clearer understanding of the components and influences that make me, me. I adopted many of these philosophies, and I began learning about the natural medicines, the wild herbs and plants in our region and around the globe. Unfortunately, it got a little bit worse before it got better. Unintentionally, I mistook my medications and overdosed on the fentanyl, which was a horrible emergency room experience that I will definitely share in future videos. However, regardless, I survived, and terrified that it could happen again, I disposed of all the medications when I returned home, acknowledging the fact that without these meds, I'd most probably be dead in a very short time. Quite frankly though, I was through with simply existing. My first grandchild had been born only days before the accident, and the thought of having to spend the rest of my life as a husk of a being was not the type of memories that I intended to leave as a legacy in anyone's mind. I spent the next several days in and out of consciousness, enduring, oh my God, unexpressible horrendous withdrawals during the detox, and I truly applaud anyone who has survived such an experience. You're amazing. So what happened to me? Because as you can see, it didn't kill me. Theoretically, the overdose forced a cleansing of toxins from my system, or so to speak, which also induced a major bowel blowout, and through a series of events, I was finally introduced to a medical marijuana enthusiast who taught and introduced me to the many hundreds of other benefits that are achieved from the plant besides simply alleviating spasms, pain, and helping with sleep. First, I learned how to cook with cannabis and incorporate it into at least one meal and/or snack each day. Don't forget to check out the Cooking with Cannabis Cure information series that will soon be available on our website. For me, ingesting marijuana meant an increase in appetite, which led to an increase in weight, and energy, which led to an increase in activity, ultimately improving digestion and elimination. I had a clearer mind, better focus. I developed a healthier attitude towards living and experienced a continued decrease in spasticity. Recognizing the benefits and symbiotic connections, my studies began. Studying the marijuana plant and its medicinal attributes and benefits encouraged further learning, study, and understanding, and not just about this particular plant, but all kinds of native natural remedies and cures. So I'm working on a Butter Me Up series. Check it out. Stay tuned. Well, winter passed and spring came, and with it, for me, a second lifetime to live. I moved back to my hometown, the beautiful and scenic Penetanguishene. Lured by the bay and the bush, I began taking daily walks, seeking out all these plants that I read about, studying the wildlife, and really truly enjoying the daily exercise and stretch routines I had begun implementing into my regime. By far, this has been what got my get up and go up and going. I still experience periodic and unpredictable days or moments in which I feel like that get up and go got up and went, but typically it's because I'm messing with one of the key factors to fight fibro. Weather is a continuous challenge that plays havoc with my system, and I'm planning a new strategy. I have been researching success stories and will keep you posted with all that I find on the subject. Nonetheless, more food meant more energy and strength, and within a few short months, it probably helped that I was entering into the warm summer months. But I began walking, just a few steps at first, but by the end of the year I was fully mobile and hope was definitely on the horizon. I put a lot of effort into eating several times a day, quality, not processed foods. I'm now walking 3 to 5 kilometers a day, weather permitting of course, and I make great efforts to go at least once a week for a 10 to 15 kilometer hike through the bush or some other physically tenuous activity like a bike ride. I enjoy 15 to 30 minutes of high intensity, not impact, Pilates, and or yoga. And I happily dance with that adorable grandson I spoke of earlier. With such a busy and active life now, I'm able to obtain a more natural quality sleep and rest. Bouts of insomnia still challenge me frequently, but again, I'm learning. Utilizing cannabis to induce sleep has been effective when inhaled through smoke or vapor, and has become a very large part of my daily regime as well. The last battle and the weapon that I intend to use to beat the autumn chills and winter blahs this year is an infrared sauna. Apparently, and I only recently read this, the infrared sauna therapy is extremely effective in helping to detoxify. It also helps for us fibro sufferers to get our internal thermostat to function a little more productively. That being said, I'm hoping to beat the winter chills with a personal unit in the very near future. In conclusion, the Fibro Fight videos that are offered through Gypsy Wind Productions introduces strategic suggestions for implementing tools based on current research, focusing on the key factors of success: diet, exercise, proper quality sleep and rest, as well as an improved attitude. Education is empowerment, and I hope that my story has offered hope and motivated you or a loved one to take action and fight fibro. Life is worth the battle. Subscribe today and receive regular updates for each time we post a new video. I'm Speaking Wind Woman. A complete bio and history is available on the website at www.greenirene.ca. So the information it was going to give you was going to lead you to an old website that, although it still exists, it's speakingwindwoman.wordpress.com, or gypsywindproductions.wordpress.com. I really don't keep those sites up, and most of the information has migrated over to the new website at www.greenirene.ca. And the Fight Fibro series is available here on the Pace Radio Network every Friday at noon. Some are live, some are pre-recorded, recorded live, but they're always packed full of information. Now, as I promised you, when we returned, I think now I'm going to, as I explained, I'm still dealing with a little bit of a fibro flare myself, just coming down from, being a little bit worn out after 3 steady weeks of steady activity that I would not have been able to do a few years ago had it not been for the tools that I am going to share with you today after the break. One of them is how to use cannabis therapeutically, not as indulgently as I have in the last few weeks. I currently am using my Shatterizer, which is filled with a CBD concentrate, and we'll talk more about this after the break. On that note, a word from our sponsors, and when we return in just about 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes. Okay, great.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at PACERadio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plant. Garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Pace Radio Network, by patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at PACERadio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at PACERadio.net.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our Hydroponics Superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
Hi folks, Scott from stfattiesday.com here, and we're absolutely stoked to tell you about our brand new program called Pass the Peace Pipe and our partnership with Legacy 420 out of Tyndonega. We are absolutely proud to be partners with these people. They are an amazing group that have helped so many people with their amazing cannabis medicinal products. And we are working together to gather funds to build the first ever Indigenous specific opioid addiction center here in the Bay of Quinte area on Tyndonega land. So we need your help. We need you to repost this video and go to our GoFundMe campaign, because on this October 17th, St. Fatty's Day, we are going to be starting the campaign where we pass the peace pipe from one side of the country to another to unite our country, to gather awareness, but most importantly funds to build opioid addiction centers across the nation, one build at a time.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at PACERadio.net.
And we're back. Okay. So before the break, I promised that I was going to share some tools with you. One of the very first tools, okay, I'm struggling with a fibro flare today. Not a flare, but I am struggling today with the whole fibro stuff. It was one of those mornings where I woke up, I've got the cramp in my neck, my back is spastic, my arms go tingly off and on, my legs go, it's just one of those really fun combinations that heralds a full-blown fibro day historically, because now the tools that I use help get me through it. And I don't react in the same way. Acceptance is one of the key strategies here. And I don't mean give up and stay in bed all day. What I mean is change your attitude, recognizing your limitations and planning to adopt a new plan of action for the day can really, really make all the difference in the world. No, pardon me. One of the tools that I said I would share is this wonderful thing that I've picked up. It's from Shatterizer. You can find it by putting in the hashtag of perfect clouds. Talk to Valerie or to, anybody from Shatterizer. You'll find them at most events. This one is the bubbler. I currently have inside a CBD concentrate that allows me so that I don't do a lot of coughing because I have been overindulging. It heats my product up. Filters the smoke through the water so that it's nice and cool and not harsh on my throat. It's CBD, so I'm not getting that whole heady high. But I am getting... Okay, so I overindulged a bit. Pardon me. That being said, there is a way to use cannabis therapeutically, and it's important that if you are going to use it therapeutically, to know how to use it, to know when to use it, and to know what to use. For these reasons, I really strongly suggest to everybody that you keep a fibromyalgia journal. A fibromyalgia journal is a lot different. Let me just add it to the screen here so that you can see what it is that I'm talking about. Add to stream. And pardon me. So this journal is that I've designed. You can make your own. You really can. And if you go to my website, you can read in some of the blogs, blog posts. There, it tells you exactly how to spell it out step by step. If you're someone who doesn't really want to do this by yourself, that's fine too, because I've already done it for you. What I've done is prepared a 31 days. It has in there how to complete your sections. There's 5 blank battle strategy maps. And the reason why there's different strategy maps in there, and I really do strongly recommend that you print off a bunch of these, because what works today may not work tomorrow. However, having a 3-month section of this worked, it didn't work, it worked, it didn't work. You really do learn your own patterns. And having that battle strategy, we're going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but having that battle strategy in place, you can get through some really challenging situations that you may not have been able to before in the past. For example, yesterday I was speaking with a fibro warrior describing how I had set an anchor and a trigger point for myself through hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically talking to yourself in your head, how to talk to yourself to achieve the things you want to do. We don't say negative things to ourselves. We don't talk negatively. When you're in a state of hypnosis, you're bypassing all of the critical faculties, all the yeah buts and the if ands and the maybes and the well, could have been, should have been, would have been crap. You bypass all that. You go right back to that primal animalistic brain, the one that keeps your liver functioning, the one that learns and retains all the information of every experience you've ever had in your life. We go back to that, and that's where we install and talk to ourselves and say, you know what, this is how we're going to handle this in the future. And you create a new routine pattern so that, pain shooting down the back of my neck and into my spine, hit my elbow, and as soon as I do, I giggle. Well, when you giggle, you release different chemicals in your brain, which put a damp blanket on those chemicals that were released from the sharp pain that was being reduced. So basically, we're battling with our brain, and we're using hypnosis and NLP to do that by installing these new programs so that when that pain starts, I hit my elbow, and honest to God, every time I hit my elbow, I will giggle. It helps put me in a more positive spot. My brain has register that as that's the way to do things. Historically, and back when I made this video of my recovery and what I was doing, I didn't have the hypnosis under my belt. I did have the NLP under my belt. I just didn't realize. Well, I guess I had both things because they're both such natural things. Fine tuning them is the art and skill of using someone like myself that is a hypnotherapist and has studied to help you fine tune it and maybe save you a little bit of time and anguish or a little bit of exploratory time. Again, these journals will help you find the pattern that you yourself are running. And so having different battle strategies and keeping them. Also, there's the diet and nutrition plan records. I'm not talking about keeping a keto diet or you can only have this many calories, et cetera, et cetera. I'm talking about, as Ashley from Elemental Growth would say, I'm talking about crowding out the crap. Literally crowd the crap out of your diet. And because you are what you eat, the more positive things you put into your body, the more real, healthy, living food, whole foods, natural, fresh vegetables and fruits from the garden, if you can get them. And if you yourself can't have a garden, call Farmer Fred down the road. I'm sure he's happy to share some of his excess harvest with you. Anybody who is growing their own food really has a passion about it and is more than happy to share. And you can reimburse with whatever it is that you have to share. It's all about the barter system to some degree, right? So there's diet in there. Keeping track, you'll find after a period of time, and I usually say 90 days, so a 3-month battle strategy, which is why I offer these. If you want to buy one and photocopy it for yourself, great. But really, 3 months is the best way. And if you want to buy all 3 books, just buy 3 months of books, fine. I'm giving you a discount. I think it works out to almost something like $5 off each book. But again, you can make these for yourself. If you just don't want to, or you don't want to go through the process, it's already done for you and you can buy it from me. Here you can find it at fightfibro.ca. You can also find it at greenirene.ca. So in there is a nutrition plan. When you find the trigger foods, take a great big red marker, circle that, make a visual, say it in your head. Ooh, this was bad for me. Now you're making that auditory anchor, and by moving your hand and circling that, you're also making it kinesthetic. You are installing that reminder in your brain subconsciously with a visual, auditory, and kinesthetic anchor. By seeing that food, you had that canned gravy, let's call it. I don't care what brand it was canned gravy, and it had all of these preservatives in it. And after you ate it, that night you had terrible digestion. You felt like rat crap, like you had been hit by a Mack truck coming at you from the front, left, right, and center. You just got nailed and you feel like chances are it might have been that. So give that a big circle and you will know next time. If you ever decide to try it again, you can reflect upon your notes of your diet and nutrition plan records and say, oh, no, you know what? I'm going to stay away from that. I'm just going to whip a little bit up here on my own of gravy or beef stock. It's really easy to do. There's also in there exercise activity records. It's very important to use them or lose them. So first, about the diet and nutrition, we are what we eat. If we're eating chemical shitstorms, your body is going to be a chemical crap filtration system. Okay. If you are eating good, healthy foods, your body is going to absorb the nutrients from that and eliminate the stuff that you don't need or want, and your cells are going to generate from whole healthy foods. You are what you eat. Your muscles, use them or lose them, just like your brain. If you're not using it, you're going to lose capacities. Physically, if we're not moving, and I know, believe me, I know the allure of staying in bed and just not moving, especially when you get one of those really nice cushion pillow mattresses to lay on, so that there's no pressure on any part of your body, because as you know, I was in bed for a long time, and so bed sores became an issue. So I got through a series of convoluted events, I ended up with one of those pillow cushions. When you're laying on that and there's no pressure on your body, oh, what a wonderful feeling. And then now top that off with one of those weighted blankets that make you feel like you're being hugged. Oh, you're being hugged on a cloud. Why would would you want to move, right? Well, because if you don't move your muscles constantly, if you don't stretch those ligaments and those tendons, they will shrivel up and they will not serve you. In fact, they will harm you. Atrophy is no laughing joke. It hurts. And to come back from an atrophied muscle group is very, very challenging. It's a lot of work and it can be done. But why go through that if you don't have to? Simply stretching several times a day before you open your eyes, adjust your attitude, right? Adjust your attitude, wake up, picture something that is wonderful that you love doing. Picture, I don't care what day it is. It could be blustering outside. But if you love being at the beach and you had a great day this year at the beach and you've really installed that, you've installed the feeling, the smell, the sights, the sounds, the feeling of the sand on your feet and the air on your face. And that was a really good place for you to be. And it just made you so happy. That's right where you want to be right now before you even open your eyes. That way, you're opening your eyes with an adjusted attitude, right? You're saying, okay, you've got all those wonderful, great chemicals in your brain rushing around. They're not sure what to do yet, but as soon as you open your eyes, you're going to give them instructions. And the first instructions you're going to give them is that nice stretch. You ever see an animal get up from sleeping? A dog, the first thing it does is stretch. The first thing your cat does is stretch. The very first thing children do is they wiggle. And that's because we're going to get those juices flowing to those muscles. And as fibro fighters, this is very important. After you've done it for 8 weeks in a row, guess what? It is habit and you will do it the rest of your life, just like making your bed. Make your bed every morning. Why? Because it says, I love me and I deserve to get into nice, beautiful, crisp sheets at the end of the day because I have worked hard as a fibro warrior. And you need to do that just like I need to do that. We need to look after ourselves. Part of self-care is being aware. Okay. So being aware of your diet, being aware of the food that you are putting into your body to create the cells that make you, you. Being aware of what triggers you, things that you can avoid, and the things that make you feel great that you never thought of before. Did you know that taking 3 simple, stopping for just a couple seconds and taking 3 really deep 7-Eleven breaths? It's a SEAL training 7-Eleven. And I don't remember all the details at the moment, but basically you inhale for 7 seconds. And so you're counting. So you're very focused on your breath. Hold for 4 seconds. And you're counting and then releasing for another 7 seconds. So the hold and release is 11, right? It's a 7-Eleven. Doing that 3 times can change everything, even the color of the environment. If it was a dark night and you did that, now your eyes can see more clearly. If it was a really bright day, now all the colors are popping at you. It's just a wonderful tool and technique to have. So 3 deep breathing 7-Elevens is a cool tool. So those battle strategy maps will help you realize what tools are really readily accessible for you. And again, visually writing them down, kinesthetically attaching an anchor, a visual anchor, seeing it in the written word and hearing yourself say it as you write it down. That is a really strong anchor in the brain. That is part of neuro-linguistic programming. It is a tool. We do it all the time. Now let's do it with intention. Hypnotically, we can install them and reinforce them because, again, we bypass the critical faculties. The other thing that you're going to find in there is, of course, your exercise activity records. You're also going to find a daily assessment. The end of the day, just take a look. How did that work for you? What happened? What was good? What was bad? You don't need to make this a lifetime career. Really, this whole journaling throughout the whole day shouldn't take you any more than maybe 15 minutes in the course of the whole day. Do not turn this into a career. It's not a job. And of course, there are the blank cannabis consumption records because you want to find out what cannabinoid profile works for you and when it works. I have different cannabinoids that work for me in different ways at different times. For example, because I enjoy and I partake, my reward for doing what I do all year long is the Karma Cup. The Karma Cup festival or event is a grassroots legacy cannabis connoisseurs delight. It is a weekend, it is a festival, 2-day festival in which all kinds of people from across from across our country, coast to coast, submit their harvest for entry, for review by judges like me. So yes, during that period, I really overindulge. This is not a therapeutic way to utilize cannabis by any stretch of the imagination. But what it does afford me is the opportunity to try a multitude of different strains, get an idea of what their medicinal profile is or their medicinal effects, if any, so that when I'm talking to clients like you or other people, and they say, I just don't like how that grape, anything that smells or tastes grapey or blueberry or fruity, it sits in the back of my throat. This is also a person, as it turns out, that has allergies that they've been battling since youth. So we work on two different things there. But what we do is I love that. What we do is we find them a profile that works more sufficiently for them. Me having experienced maybe I am up to 700 strains, 900. In the last couple of years, I have documented and tested and tried well over 1,000 strains. Now, that doesn't mean I sat there and smoked a pound of this. It means I sat there and I tried either through a vape or through a topical application or through under the tongue sublingual tinctures, so that you get the same effect as you would from inhalation, because that artery goes straight to the heart, which means it gets into the bloodstream right away. I've tried all of this so that I can share from a little bit of experience, and I'm not experienced in it all, and I'm by no means an expert by any stretch of the imagination. And if you ever see me at one of these festivals trying things out, I heard so often this weekend at Karma Cup the expression, I'm mature enough to know my tolerance. And I was so excited about that people aren't overindulging. I, of course, was for the experience of it. And that Karma Cup is my reward. That is for everything I do all year long. I go to Karma Cup and I celebrate and I take my downtime, even though I do a little bit of work. But Papa always said, love what you do what you love and love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life, because it'll never be work for you. Right? And I do. I'm very passionate about helping you help you learn how to fight fibromyalgia pharmaceutically free. That being said, I also want to share a little bit more of my screen now, because let me just open this up. What I want to share here is some information about gabapentin. I've noticed that gabapentin is being prescribed. It is an off-label prescription. Gabapentin works until it doesn't. And it works fabulously because it is a beta blocker. It is there to help you not feel pain. And it does, okay? It works. It blocks the pain. Here's a story. It blocks the pain so well, and I was on such a high dosage by the end of my pharmaceutical days that I couldn't feel pain. I could tell the difference between hot and cold, but I could not tell the difference between hot and scalding. Okay. That being said, I poured myself a bath that not until after I was sitting in that bath and I noticed my skin peeling did I realize that I was boiling myself. Okay. So gabapentin is a very scary pharmaceutical that needs to be taken with a lot of consideration. That means educate yourself. Ask your doctor. I don't care if you are ticking your doctor off, and you shouldn't care either. Your doctor gets paid good dollars to help you. Make sure that person is doing that. Ask your questions. Don't just take these pharmaceuticals because they do this and say, here, try this. Did you hear the word your doctor used? Try. Do you know what that implies? It implies failure. And if you've ever taken an NLP class or course, you will know that we never use that word because it does imply failure. Try. You're probably not going to succeed. You can come back to me and I'll give you something else to try. I hope you guys understand what I'm pointing out here. It is very important that you be the first line of defense when it comes to your health and wellness. Gabapentin is a very powerful drug. It's often it was designed for epilepsy, I believe, and possibly Parkinson's, the shakes that the pain that goes along with the tension that goes along with Parkinson's. And I do believe that it's very effective. However, once you start using it, after a while, you build up a tolerance and you need to add more. So if we have little receptors in our brain that are shaped like this, along comes this receptor, pain goes in there and the receptor goes wonky, right? So what we do is we get a beta blocker, and I am really oversimplifying this, guys. I just want you to get the idea of what I'm saying. Okay. Along comes the pill, the beta blocker, and it sits there, and now nothing can get into that little crevice, and we don't feel pain. Yay us, right? And after a while, this dissolves and it goes away, and our body starts to get pain again, and it goes like this. And so we get another beta blocker and we put it in place and we stop the pain. And that's why we take these things regular. It works. Okay. If you're not seeing the video, then I apologize, because I'm really doing a lot of visuals here regarding this. Moving on. What happens after a while is, because these are unnatural and this is natural, what happens is this receptor starts to spread out and it becomes like that. And so now the pain is setting in and it's getting all wonky and screepy, and along comes the beta blocker, and it kind of sits there and it blocks some of the pain, but it's not really doing its job. So things are still going wonky because that's not fitting there, and it fades away. So now what happens is we have to take this pill because this receptor is this big. And in the fibro person, a lot of our pain is in our brain because of the chronic pain that the chronic program that we have been running for so long. Our brains are on high alert for anything that might induce screeching pain, unbearable pain. So even the slightest little amount of pain is registered on high alert. It's like they sound a 4-alarm bells when it was just a little paper fire kind of thing. Okay. You get the idea. And so then what happens is we're still getting pain in here. Our receptors are getting screwed up. The pain medication isn't doing the blocking job that it once did. We need more, we need bigger, we need more, we need bigger. Here's the thing. When we learn to control this, just by having a little guy that runs around in our brain, hypnotically speaking, we've all seen this on TV and we've all been hypnotized by the TV. So let's hypnotize ourselves and go into our own little brains and have these little guys run around, and that receptor's starting to act up. So he goes over and gives it a little pet and tells that little receptor, it's okay. It's okay. This isn't screaming pain. And boom, we're better again. Or we've assuaged that potential flare up and attack. So therein lies the value of using hypnosis again, and NLP versus something like gabapentin. Gabapentin is very, very scary. Okay. Look these up. I'm showing you them on my screen so that you can see the web pages. Research. After, imagine long term, we've all seen those stories from back in the 70s where they used to bind their feet in childhood so that their feet would be bound, and then their feet grew like that. And so now as adults, they've got these really funky shaped feet. Okay, guess what happens in your brain if you've done nothing but give it pharmaceuticals for the last 20 years and you've changed your brain chemistry? It's okay. Don't panic. Yes, you did change your brain chemistry. You even changed the way your brain looked. Okay, but you really can rewire your brain. You really, really, really genuinely can. And thanks to epigenetics that were just figured out in like 2017, 2019, something like that. Again, go to TED Talks. Love these things. Neural feedback. It's like biofeedback, except it's all for the brain. You can rebuild your brain your way without the chemical crap. Okay? So if you have to take pharmaceuticals, intend to take them very short term while you learn the tools you need, because it will change if you have done nothing but put pharmaceuticals to block that pain again and again and again for 20 years. And you take those pharmaceuticals away, guess what that receptor still looks like? You've deformed it. Okay. So you've changed the way your brain is shaped. You've changed the way your brain is firing neurons. And you can, with hypnosis, with neurolinguistic programming, you can rewire your brain. You can rebuild activity in the gray matter. Okay. So okay. So the neurontin, gabapentin is bad. I don't like it. This is my personal opinion. Obviously, talk to your doctor, talk to other people, and research for yourself, because that is what is going to matter. And look at both sides of the coin. I always taught my children 4 things. You want plan A, which is action. That's what you've got to do. Plan B is the backup. If you can't do what you got to do, you've got a plan B. You've also got to have a plan C, which is a contingency plan, because sometimes, especially when there's external influences, even the backup plan isn't good enough. So having a contingency plan, very important. And here's the reality of being human. There's always the default. It's just whatever's going to be is going to be. And you know what? Get a grease back and just let it go. Let it go. It was out of your control and power. Let it go. Okay, so plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. And that's how it should be for your health and wellness. Really, really look at this. Okay, I have struggled for the last 10 years to get my brain activity back to a level that I am happy and comfortable with for retention, for recall. I can't go on enough about how bad this stuff can be. There are a lot of how it works. All of this information is always available online. Okay, so I've talked a lot about my story and what I do. Some of you were asking me for this information because I was just coming out here all didactic and stuff, and being very teacherish and instructional and that sort of thing. So my tools, again, the tools, you have to have a flexible battle strategy. You're going to get that through keeping a journal. Keep one for 90 days. Don't make it a lifetime job. You got enough work to do. Your brain has enough work to do. And you really should be enjoying your life instead of working at living it. Okay. By writing things down, we have the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic installations happening already naturally in our brain. Now, on top, so one thing I haven't talked much about today is cannabis. Cannabis applies to all of this in every which way. First of all, keeping track of the different strains that you use is very important, and you want to do that in your journal here. Okay, this is important. Keep track of, and the things you want to keep track of are, I have my journal books. Oh, you know what? I have writing all over it. I'm sorry, my friends. But here's basically what you want to keep track of. And this sheet and the book is available on my website. There is a really cool book coming out, I believe, this weekend. And it is Green Irene's catalog, and that's the strain a day. Try a strain a day yourself. So I believe that comes out this weekend. I'll be sharing that real soon. If it's not this weekend, it's next weekend for sure. But the things you want to keep track of, I mean, of course, you want to know, is it a concentrate you're using? Is it a flower you're using? Are you ingesting it or are you inhaling it? So your method of consumption as well as the product itself. You want to know what the cannabinoid profile is. What is how much THC percentage? What is your CBD percentage? What is any other cannabinoids that your label identifies? Identify them as well. The terpenes are going to make a difference. They're going to make a huge difference. Worrying about whether or not it's indica or sativa can be very misleading for a lot of people unless you genuinely understand the cultivar itself. So more importantly, for fibro fighters, to find the strains that are right for you, it's most important to find the cannabinoid profile, the cannabinoid and terpene profile. Once you find that, you can find it in a multitude of strains, give or take a percentage here or there, which means you can walk into any dispensary, whether it's legacy market or it's legal market, whether it's on the reserve or it's at an OCS dispensary. Now, when you find something that you genuinely like and you found, wow, for the last 3 days, this purple project, which happens to be one of the favorite ones of mine that works very well for me, this purple project's really done good things for me, and you look at your notes, give that a circle with a nice big purple or nice healing blue magic marker. Give that a circle. Write down the brand that you got it from, because every plant grows a little different, just like every person grows a little bit different. And every farmer grows differently. So again, and in the plant itself, the buds you get from the top are not going to have the same cannabinoid profile as the buds from the bottom. They'll all be within a couple of percentages or half percentages of each other. But again, knowing the brand. So for example, if you went to, oh my God, a bazillion figure, for example, is one that you will find at most OCS stores, FIGGR, I believe it's spelt. If you go and you see them, and they have, I don't know, ape monkey or grape ape, let's say, and that profile really works for you. Circle that brand really works for you, because chances are you will get a much more consistent cannabinoid profile from them, specifically because they are growing the same way pretty much every time, right? Whereas if you go for that same strain from a different grower, let's say you go to, I don't know, Junkies Juju. Junkies Juju grows hydroponically instead of in the ground, let's say. It's going to make a difference in the blood, in the bud cannabinoid as well as terpenoid profiles. So you want to keep track of those sorts of things. You also want to know how effective it was for you. I do this on a 1 to 5. And again, I don't invest a lot of unnecessary energy in this. Give it what you've got, and just quick details. Don't make it a lifetime project. Okay, and those are my tools, really. So I'm going to take this out. Again, you can find that journal at fightfibro.ca as well as greenirene.ca. I think we're getting close to our time out now, and I've shared once again, an awful lot of information. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for a show, a way that you would like things done, or if there's something you would like me to explain so that you maybe get a little bit more understanding of something, asking your doctor questions, how-tos, that sort of thing, please don't hesitate to book a discovery call with me at www.greenirene.ca. You can also contact me through the Pace Radio Network. You will find me here broadcasting live on Tuesdays from THC Talk Time, and that's where we talk a lot about weed, cannabis, and the cannabis industry. We talk about it from a recreational perspective, as well as a medicinal perspective, as well as a business and commercial perspective. Let's take a look at some of the scientific stuff. Let's take a look at some of the retail stuff. Let's listen in to THC Talk Time with Green Irene, Tuesdays at noon. And on Wednesdays, I help you take a midweek meditative break at noon. We highlight a strain of cannabis, all of its benefits that you can glean from it, how it applies to the meditative practice or the practice of meditation. And then we do a nice meditation that can help you recharge, regenerate, and rejuvenate for the week. Moving on from there, I'm back again, of course, on Fridays with the Fight Fibro series at noon. So all of my shows are at noon. Pace Radio now has a full week's lineup. Tune in Sunday to the Sunday Pace show where Al and Cindy are going to be sharing some new and exciting information for you. We have shows running here on the Pace Radio Network Sunday through Saturday. We've got On the Road Lives when they happen. We have Reefer Reporters on Mondays and Thursdays. We also have the Patient Show of the Pace Radio Show, and that's People Advocating Cannabis Education on Wednesday evenings. So make Pace Radio one of your favorites. Remember to bookmark us, tune in, subscribe, and we will see you back here as often as you decide to join us. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm Green Irene saying be happy, get healthy, and stay strong. Keep lit.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at PACERADIO.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at PACERADIO.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at PACERADIO.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at PACERADIO.net.